So anyways, welcome to our My Real Estate company meeting. We're excited you're here. We're here every Thursday at 10 specifically for this, but you can catch us here Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. for some kind of conversation or training. So welcome. I like this format, Josh.
I decided I'd change it up a little bit. We've had enough threads. I'm tired of threads now. I've moved on to bigger and better things. Um, Agents think being busy means they're building, but busy can still be broke. Only profit and sustainability tell the truth. So I think this is relevant right now, especially not just for agents, but us as a brokerage. We are building like crazy, and a lot of the agents don't see a lot of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Um, but one thing that you guys can rest assured of is your leadership team is always focused on profitability for the agents, and everybody involved in this company. So we're not just running around spinning our wheels doing nothing. We're actually moving the needle forward. And I think that's really important that you guys as agents focus on that profitability piece too, because let's face it, hardly anybody in this industry talks about profitability. And that's really why you guys are all here, because we understand you're here to make money. So um, prioritize the profitability over just being busy and all the goofy metrics that everybody else in this industry pushes.
I love that, Josh.
Yeah, right on. I love it.
Also, everybody's busy. Like everybody's busy. So what are you doing with your busyness, right? What are you doing that matters? Okay, so our core values, as always, something that I love that's kind of become a tradition at this company is right now, mics are open. Anybody that wants to speak up and talk about any core value that has impacted them this week, go ahead. I'm going to take a bite of mac and cheese, so somebody better open their mic. Taking one more bite.
For me, it was productive conversations. So I just know there was a lot of conversations. I had a lot of one-on-one meetings with staff and agents this week. And I feel like, one of the things I love is that the culture we're building is everyone here wants to do better, wants to be better. So we're open to feedback. We're open to receiving that without taking it like personally, because we know that those messages come from love and come from the heart. So when Sandy has feedback for me, or I have feedback for an agent or whatever, like, it's because we're all growing together. And I just really love that.
I'll handle it. We had a couple issues with our website this week that we had to take care of. There was no time to work on anything else. You just got to drop what you're doing to get that back up and running, because that's probably one of the biggest user like outside facing things we've got. We don't want that to be down. So that had to be taken care of right away.
And I appreciate that, Brian. Like I was telling Holly that you stayed at least an hour later at work to make sure it was handled. So thank you.
2 nights in a row, actually.
Well, Monday and Wednesday. So.
Yeah.
2 nights this week. Okay.
Also this morning, so I love doing like, speaking of diss tracks, I also kind of like am kind of a disser on social media, just the way that I handle myself on social media, the way I conduct myself. And I'm gonna post it on Instagram, but so far it's been posted on LinkedIn, where we're not gonna piss on you and tell you it's raining. We will never bullshit you as agents. So Holly and I have always said that, if agents call us family, that's cool, but we're never going to like manipulate you into acting like, oh, we're your family. You'd never leave your family, right? Or whatever, because I don't know, what people consider family these days, but we're charging you about what, like $17,000 a year to be here. And I don't know what family is a healthy family that actually does that. So we're a business and we care about you, and we want to lead from the front and teach you how to build a profitable business. And we want to build on value and show you that we don't have to be a race to the bottom. You don't have to be a race to the bottom in your business. But so my core value is business over buzzwords. Like that whole family bullshit, we're never going to do that to you. If you consider me your fam, that's fine, but we're not going to do that to you.
Kind of along the same lines there, there's a lot of people that just like to say a bunch of shit that makes people feel good, right? Especially when it comes to clients. And you and Holly, I think you guys were in on a thread on a transaction that I've been working on this week. Two different parties, same house, same transaction, two different parties. One is more cooperative than the other. And my approach to that, I would say for me, the radical transparency portion of it, I want to make sure I set the expectations up front so that both parties understand it completely. That way there's no miscommunication or no feeling of collusion from one side to the other. So transparency for me is huge.
Awesome. Thanks, DC. Yeah, radical transparency. Okay, next slide. All right. So if you have a topic to submit to me for true crime and real estate, I'm going to take it seriously. This is actually the second one that Debbie has submitted to me that I'm running. And this is the $220 million cattle scam. I don't know what in the hell is going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and why I have to do so many fucking true crime and real estate stories out there, but I found this really interesting. And one reason it's so interesting is there's still a fugitive currently out there on the FBI's most wanted list. So there's real estate, like there was Ponzi scheme happening. This money was spent on luxury real estate. Like all kinds of scammy things happening here. So I'm really excited to present to you this upcoming week's true crime and real estate episode. And it's super relevant. Like this shit just, these indictments just happened this month. So thank you, Debbie, for the suggestion. And anybody, especially if you see something current, relevant, or a case that you've seen in the past that you'd like to see covered, I actually listen to you and I take suggestions. Next slide.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, believe it or not. Okay. And then yours truly is doing again another Work It Wednesday training. So actually, Emily had very much requested this one. You may not know what the tool ManyChat means, but do you ever wonder out there when these social media influencers are like, comment, training for the link, or DM training, whatever. I'm going to teach you the program that influencers use and that we use to instantly, if you want somebody to comment on your stuff, you can set it up to where it'll send them a DM with a link. You can set it up to where if somebody DMs you something, you can send them something back. You can set it up to where if somebody follows you, you can send them, hey, thank you for following. How did we, do we know each other? Anything. Like there are so many things that you can automate. And ManyChat is set up specifically for Instagram and Facebook Messenger. So the meta side of things. So this has been a highly requested training and we're excited to show you the ins and outs of it. And then if you don't already look at our myrealestateco.com, it's like obviously everybody's website, our training. If you go myrealestateco.com/training, you'll see the entire training calendar. And because I checked that website, I was like, holy shit, Lindsay's doing this amazing training next Friday, a week from Friday. And it's all about, as a company, we've talked about My State MLS. Whether you're with My Real Estate Company or My Real Estate Company 2, I think My State MLS would be a really good idea for you to add to your business. And if you do happen to add that to your business, you also get like a Crexy Lite account. So if you have any interest in commercial, light commercial, resi-mercial, Lindsay's going to teach you what that means for you, how this syndicates and all the opportunities that you can have along with it. She's going to be hosting that at 11 a.m., not our usual 10 a.m., 11 a.m. She'll be hosting that training. Next slide. Okay, so this is just something that I noticed this morning in Inman, and I wanted to kind of touch on it because, again, we used to do this like purpose slide at the beginning of our meetings and be like, look, we don't want to hold meetings just to have meetings. We don't want to waste your time. And we want you to get something out of this that helps you build on your business. So here's what's happening in the news. The Compass CEO, Robert Refkin, is pushing the idea of a national MLS. I'm here for it. I absolutely love it. It'd be like one gigantic listing system for the whole country. And so brokerages would co-own it. It'd be like a brokerage owned MLS and an independent board would run it. A lot of luxury brokerage executives, I think we're talking like Douglas Elliman and influential executives like that, they like the concept in theory because listings would be easier to access. Everyone would play by the same rules across the whole nation. And it would reduce how much fucking power Zillow has. So almost everyone also said the same thing. The idea sounds great until you actually dig deeper. The biggest issues would be who runs it, who enforces the rules across every local market. How would you handle states with different disclosure laws? Who polices violations like photo rules and signage and stuff like that? Would smaller brokerages actually get an equal voice, or would big firms dominate it like they often do in local spaces? So there's a big reason that brokerages might resist, and that is control. A lot of firms don't want to share everything because listing data equals traffic, leads, and money. And I'm going to add power, right? The article points out New York City tried to create an MLS years ago, and some brokerages refused to cooperate inside that MLS. And that opened the door for Street Easy to basically become the MLS out there. So I just found that very interesting. The bottom line would be a national MLS, in my opinion, would be a smart move and benefit the industry, but it would be, I don't think it would be hard to pull off. The only reason it would be hard to pull off is because you'd have to get everybody's heads out of their own asses and egos would have to be set aside. But Sandy Lynn Burnett, CEO of my real estate company, is for something like this. But I felt like it'd be, we want you at the forefront of the news. And when Inman is writing about something like this, I just figure I should let you guys know. And also something funny as a complete aside is on LinkedIn, I have a premium membership and it always says like, your potential lead, Robert Refkin, just posted about blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's so hilarious that they consider that a lead for me. But yeah, so does anybody have any thoughts about this? Opinions?
I mean, the first thing I thought of when I just saw the headline was like, well, there's already national options out there. So I was glad you kind of like dug into the story because I didn't have time to read it yet, So I mean, it makes sense, the whole like it would be broker owned, but I think I agree with you, like it's going to be hard getting people out of their own way. And the power struggle is going to be the same, just look different, right? So, but that's why we have a partnership with a national MLS. So it's different, but the same. So that's
Well,
my
one more
point.
thing was like when it talked about, well, who would police signage? Well, why does fucking signage need to be policed?
Right.
Like, why are we doing this to
The
ourselves?
states police that. And that's what I like about
Yeah.
our partnership is it's with an MLS that doesn't micromanage. They let the states rule over what your actions are as an agent. You should know what the laws are in your state. And then there's some consistency requirements, but that's about it. So
All right, next slide.
Company updates. Oh, it's me. That's me. So I am going to be doing my RECo reveal tonight. If anyone wants to be my guest, that would be great. Otherwise, I will just be going through our presentation. And if you can at least participate on Twitch, that will be fun. But if you have time tonight at 8 p.m. Central and you want to jump on with me, even if you've been on before, let me know. Would love to just have a casual conversation with you about like why you're here, what you love about it, things, and then like your favorite benefits and stuff. So that's it.
And we love to change it up each week because something different is going to resonate with different people. So thank you, Holly, for giving me a break this week. Next week is DC is going to be joining me. I'm really excited about that. And we'll be having a couple drinks during it.
Hell yeah.
Next.
I gotta go shopping today for it.
Yeah. Okay. I have called a few of you about this, but here's the deal. We are expanding rapidly. This is a great problem to have. If you've noticed, we've been announcing new agents every single week, onboarding. I dare say we're exploding. 2025 was a year of laying the foundation and making sure that we had, built this brick by brick, had the right foundation in place. In 2026, agents are noticing, competitors are noticing as well, but it's very expensive to expand into new states and to expand into new MLSs. And up until this entire time, Holly and I have been funding this entire brokerage with our own commissions and our own production. And I finally had to take a hard stand and stop producing. I told Damien and Andy, my local agents, I said, listen, I cannot run the brokerage and produce anymore. So I'll definitely be referring out. And so in order to do that, we're going to run our business like a business and raise capital and allow inside agents the first opportunity of we're like, hey, if we're raising capital, what's something that we could give back to them that would be an amazing opportunity? And so this is a $25,000 lifetime cap award. You would never, ever pay a split again. You'd never pay a cap again. We have only 15 slots open. Some of them have already been taken. And what you'll get is 1,500 undiluted equity shares, because that counts as you becoming one of the first 100 award members. VIP support channel, so your support channel changes to VIP. And I, as the CEO, am now removed out of every single agent support channels except for the VIP agents. You'll have a seat at the table, like input for major company decisions. We very much care about our equity holders at the company because you care about the company's equity continuously raising, and that's how we very much view it. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything offline, risk versus rewards, anything like that, you know where to find me, and that is on Slack, and I'm happy to talk that through with you. So, all right, next slide. Okay. This is a new policy. It's not quite new, but we're finally putting it into, like we're making it official. All right. And I wanted to really stop and tell everybody the reason we are ever going to issue policies is for protection for you and your business. We at this brokerage are at the forefront. We build based on the future. We don't build based on tradition or what everybody else has always, how everybody else has always done it. Okay. I guarantee you, if you live in an area and they don't do it this way, that doesn't mean they're not going to do it. It means that, you're a trailblazer. If you're with this brokerage, you're going to have a little bit of trailblazing to do, but we are going to give you script and contract guidance in order to do it. So why not offer broker to broker compensation? First of all, let's talk about what broker to broker compensation is. It is our brokerage as the listing brokerage paying the buyer's brokerage. Okay. We're not going to do that. What we will do is, you can give your seller a choice. Do you want to offer anything to the buyer's agent or not? Right. The seller can pay the buyer's brokerage directly. All right. So it's not saying, no, we're limiting the seller and their options or anything. It's saying my real estate company doesn't need to be paying out other brokerages splits. Okay. That's the whole reason we got in this hot water in the first place. Agents charging 6-7%, whatever. And then, then there being confusion on how much the other brokerage gets paid. And then there's disputes between brokerages. So there are a lot of issues that will be eliminated in doing it this way. I'll tell you right now, there's a local brokerage where I'm at called Rule and Rule, and they still offer broker to broker compensation. And it's like a set percentage. And they just it's like they didn't learn anything. They did not learn anything from the lawsuits. So Lindsay, go ahead.
Well, I want to remind everybody, if you look back in the history of how commissions were paid, so the listing agent used to negotiate on behalf of the buyer's agent. This may happen, so let's put it in the budget. And the the seller's broker used to collect that commission. Now think about it. Back in the day, we used to cut checks. So when we went to the title company, this is kind of where this came about, where the broker had to pay the other broker, because at the closing table, the title company would send the listing broker the check. They wouldn't split two checks like we do now in a CDA and all the things. Well, you got to remember, not just the legality of the commission being a part of the sale of the house. The commission is a part of the agreements between the brokers and the client. It has nothing to do with buyer and seller buying this house. So when you remove that factor, you actually remove yourself as a brokerage out of any of the lawsuits that have to do with something going down with the transaction between the buyer and the seller. So that's number one in my book. You have removed yourself as a broker and an agent from lawsuits that have nothing to do with commission. Because when you put your commission as a part of the contract between the buyer and the seller, now you get roped into going into those litigations because you are a factor. And that's why we have listing agreements and buyer's rep agreements. Your agreement is only between you and the client. It's not between you and the client and the other client and then the deal where the house was put under contract. So agents really forget that that commission and that agreement is between you and the client, and it's an agreement. It's not a contract. So like an employment agreement. So keeping that out of the actual massive, serious contract of purchasing the property helps you on the liability side. The second side that I like to remind agents, remember, this isn't 10 years ago where we got one check at closing and then it went to the listing brokerage and the listing brokerage had to do accounting and then the accounting was done and sent over to the other broker. So now, because we can do everything, at closing, it makes the most sense accounting wise and legality wise to let them pay those brokerages that they have agreements with versus muddling it all up in the housing or the property purchasing agreement. So I hope that made sense, but we have adapted in the policies, and the way title pays has changed. Therefore, this makes it cleaner. And like I said, number one is the legal. It keeps the brokerages out of the contractual agreement between the buyer and the sellers outlined to purchase a property. Our commission does not need to be a part of that. They are buying a property and they've agreed to those terms. We don't need to muddy up the waters and push our commission agreements and outlines in those contracts. We have those agreements, not contracts, employment agreements with the clients. So I hope it's not as clear as mud, but that's really the evolution of why this became a thing, and also how, like Sandy said, because we kept muddling everything together, this is actually how we got into a lot of hot water.
Thanks, Lindsay. Holly?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of share it in a different perspective or different way. So what this means in practicality is that when you're talking to your sellers, you want to still explain what it looks like in a deal, right? So I usually say, frame it as like, hey, up until recently, it was common practice for me as a listing agent to pre-negotiate what I would share with an agent. So I would charge 7, and of that 7, if I represented the buyer, great, I kept the whole 7. If someone else represented the buyer, I would share my 7 with them. And the seller didn't even have to think about it at that point. But things have changed. There's been, agreements and lawsuits and things. So now instead of me charging you 7, I'll go ahead and charge you 4, because if I represent the buyer, I've already negotiated with the buyer how much they're going to pay me. And we'll talk about that if I end up becoming a dual agent or an intermediary, depending on your state, how you call it. But most importantly, I'm not going to pre-negotiate what this buyer agent gets. We're going to go ahead and in the net sheet, we'll just throw in a number so that you don't get sticker shock when I give you your estimate of proceeds when you get an offer and we're presenting it. So let's go ahead and put a placeholder in there. But we can either offer a specific percentage to whoever represents the buyer, or we can wait and see what happens. Because if buyers have the cash, this might not even be an issue. If the buyers don't have the money to pay their agent, then they're going to ask for it in the offer. And then at that point, we'll negotiate. So that is how I talk to my sellers about it. And then when you're talking to other agents, especially for those of you that are trailblazing in your area, like Mickey, I know this is fallen on your shoulders. So one of the easiest things to say is, after you talk to your sellers, if your seller allows you to say this, hey, my seller's open to paying buyer agent compensation, but you need to negotiate it in the offer. Like, how much are you charging your client? Because some agents don't know their worth and they only charge 1%, or they only charge, whatever, or it might be a family or friend. So we don't know what that buyer agent is worth or what they're charging. So we just kind of leave it open to negotiations. Any questions about that?
Also, like, based on the property, right? If it's like multiple offers, if the buyer's going to be asking for their commission from the seller or not, right? There's all kinds of different factors. So, one question that was brought up to us this week was, if I'm writing an offer and the brokerage on the other side of the deal is offering broker to broker compensation, yeah. So if they're offering broker to broker compensation, we're not dictating what other brokerages can do. Write it in however their broker to broker compensation is. But I'm going to tell you right now that I got a raise thanks to Holly and how she taught me. When this all happened, I got a raise because I'm not paid based on what a brokerage is offering me anymore. I'm paid based on my EBA. So I'll write in whatever they want to offer me. And then I'll also write, especially if my buyer doesn't need closing costs, I'll write it in as extra closing costs and then let my buyer settle the EBA, if that makes sense. So that way the seller's not making it look like commission. They're like, oh, only 2,000 in closing costs for the buyer. Sounds good to me. And then it's like, I got $2,000 more in commission. Lindsay, go ahead.
Absolutely. Just like Holly had said with some of the course correction, buyer's agents, you now have to be mindful and ask the question to the listing agent. When you go to view a property, find out, hey, what have you negotiated with your sellers? And they do have to tell you, if their sellers have said, we will pay the brokerage an additional commission, they have to tell you that information. And like you said, Sandy, if they're already doing a closing fee of say 2%, well, if you have an agreement with your clients, being able to do the realtor math. And I also think the one thing that's new to agents nowadays is that you cannot no longer blindly write an offer. You have to have a conversation with the other agent to find out what the terms are, so you can make sure you're maximizing your worth. You can make sure that you understand the full legality on the other side of the table that's already been negotiated or promised to you. So I think really just brokers and agents working together is huge. And I'm really excited, you guys. We have some amazing leadership, and I've learned so much myself from Sandy and Holly and how they navigate this in other states. So I'm looking forward to a class on this as well. And really, you're with one of the best brokerages who's actually having these open conversations and helping you, improve your negotiation skills and your business skills and your bottom lines.
Awesome.
Thanks, Lindsay. And yeah, and what Holly wrote in. So please, if this is new territory to you, don't let it scare you. Please come to us and let us help you with the offer or the listing agreement or anything like that. We're very, very good at that stuff. So, like I've learned all kinds of things. Especially if my buyer's really tight on funds, the lender will put in the pre-approval contingent on the seller satisfying the EBA and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of shit that I learned. So, all right, the horse is dead. Let's go. This is what I was talking about. If you go to myrealestateco.com/training, our training calendar is front and center. And Lindsay, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were here. Otherwise I would have let you open your mic and talk about your Crexy training, but
no, we're good. Thank you so much for adding that. We're very excited. Sorry about the time change, everyone, but we are actually going to have a representative from Crexy that's going to be there. So we're very excited to learn that. So thank you for dropping that note. And I just, you know what? I love this company so much. I can't help, even when I'm out, I want to crash and listen to all the updates because it's amazing.
Next slide. Nate Tricks.
All right. So this week I have a special announcement. Next slide. We had our very first, Damien had his very first closing with our company. Let's go. Way
Wait
to
a
go,
minute.
Damien.
What state was that in?
Oh, good question. Let
Now
me see.
it was Illinois.
I'm saying.
Illinois. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I know what social media post I'm doing.
Illinois.
You had the first Illinois closing, Damien.
That's
Whoops.
awesome.
Yeah.
Damien,
There's
did
no
you want to
way
say?
it's Illinois.
The S is silent. Nate,
That's what I was gonna say.
I got you.
Oh, I always say that. Yep.
I know.
It's an Arizona thing, I think. I'll just blame
I
that.
bet you say Des Moines as well.
I do say Des Moines.
Norfolk.
Now, did you want to open up, Damien, and share your experience about your first closing?
I do. Okay. I want to preface with I am the guy who will always break technology. If something can go wrong, I'm the guy it happens to. And in true fashion, we had a glitch with the app that it was not anybody's fault. It was just a thing that happened. But I was sitting at Rascal's Bar here locally. It was 4:30 in the afternoon. I was having an old fashioned. I clocked out for the day, and I get a call from U.S. Bank to fix the issue. And I'm looking at my clock. I'm like, it is 4:30 on a Friday. What is going on? So in my head, I just imagine Sandy and Holly threatening these people on the phone, you will take care of this on a Friday. We don't care. I will burn your house down. I don't know if that's what actually happened, but not saying it couldn't have happened.
All right. Wouldn't be the
That's all I have
first
to
time
say.
Holly's threatened to burn someone's house down.
So you made the deposit, and then how long did
Yeah.
it take for you to get your funds once we said we issued the payment?
It was a holiday weekend too. I'm not sure. It wasn't too long after.
Yeah.
But
okay. Awesome.
and
Okay. Next slide. Thanks for the plug, Damien.
Yes.
Holly does tend to make some threats, so I believe it for sure.
All right. Each week, I want to go through and give everybody Slack tips. Slack is what we use for all of our communication. It's where we house all of our files and do all of our compliance. It's just kind of a really good backbone of our company of, how we communicate and stuff like that. So this week, I'm going to share my favorite tip is how to save for later a message or making it or marking it unread. That way you never miss a message. So this is going to be for our PC users who's used Slack here. Oh, you might have to hit play so it goes through. All right, so right now I wanted to save the CE shop for later. That's a pretty important thing, that we share in the water cooler. Maybe you want to save it for later so you can revisit it. Here's some couple options right here that you can do. And then when you go to your later file, you'll scroll through and it always puts the most overdue on top. And then you can click the check mark once you've done your task.
That is the loudest mouse I've ever heard.
Sorry about that. I did make sure there's no more sound on the next
That's
page.
hilarious though.
And then this is for our phone users. Once again, I'm in the water cooler chat. I'm scrolling up. Instead of finding those three dots, you just hold down the message and hit remind me. And once again, you have those options for 30 minutes. I always do an hour for some reason. It's just my go-to. And then when you are in your main homepage, you can click later, scroll through, and you will see it hanging in there. And you can hit the complete button once you've completed it.
How did you get the
All right.
mouse clicks for your phone?
Just did Loom and shared my
Okay,
feature
so
on
you
my MacBook.
recorded it from Loom. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
All right,
Nice.
next slide. So this one is going to be the market unread, another go-to for like if you accidentally read a message that you didn't want to read and you're like, oh crap, and now I don't know where to find that. So I did this for Brian's video that he posted in the water cooler chat. So I want to do those three little dots in the corner, mark it as unread. And then if you click another channel, as you can see, it will be left unread. And then when you go back to it, that red line right there lets you know any messages that you haven't seen yet. And then one more time for the phone version. Once again, if you accidentally click on a message, you didn't mean to read it. See, I had to scroll down here because it was red. I went to the water cooler, found Brian's message, held down the message, and just marked it unread. And then when you hit the back button, you can see it will be somewhere up on top under your unreads. So that is your Slack tips for the week. And I will kick it over to Kyle.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nate.
Good morning. I just want to say that I think Slack is so cool because I use it completely differently uh, and they're all good ways. There's so many ways. Like if I see something that I need for later, I forward it to myself in a private message, and then that essentially becomes my to-do list. And then when I'm done, I can delete it. And you can also pin stuff for yourself. So it's pretty cool.
Love
All
it.
right. Here we all are. Can I have the next slide, please?
Hey, Kyle, you have an interesting last name.
Yeah,
almost
it's
no
the same
other
as
small
Josh's.
Yeah.
Just in case
Did you
anyone
all
was
know that
wondering.
Kyle and
Am I
Josh
never
are
gonna
married?
get? I feel like I'm never gonna not hear that again. That's so
It's not
Debbie,
just
You're not
you
the
though,
only
Deb.
one.
not
not
you,
just-
Debbie.
yeah.
Many people at our company, this happened.
That is funny.
All right. I'm introducing this week listing marketing assets. So if you want to have a private consultation with me to work up some listing flyers or social media assets, I'll be happy to meet with you. Use your colors, use your fonts, use whatever headshot you want. If we can go to the next slide, I made a couple of examples of a listing flyer, a social media ad. Let me know if you want to work together on this. I would love to build you some templates in Canva and then prepare these preemptively for you when you have a listing coming up. And then in the next couple of weeks, I will showcase what we can do for like pendings and just solds and other things or buyer representations. But this is what we have for this week. So next
And
slide.
those are beautiful.
Thank
Thank you.
Mhm. So yes, if you want a consult, please tag me in your support channel and I will come run in. We'll get something set up. And then here is a flyer of everything that's included in the service. I know a couple of people that are just getting started have some questions about what I can do for you. We would call this an all-in service. I can help you from the first touch that you have with a client all the way through close of escrow and everything in between. So if you want a copy of this service menu or the turn times, you can tag me in your support channel and I will send them to you.
And then here's something else that I appreciate. So like even this morning, I have, again, phasing out of production. I have a buyer that I was working with, and Kyle had tagged me in that channel. It's like a super old channel, like a not like a dead lead, but she was like, "Hey, did you need my help with anything with this buyer?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, she said she's saving up money, and so if she gets it together for her down payment, then I'm going to refer her out." But I love that Kyle revives, what could be a lead that I've forgotten about. So thanks for doing that, Kyle.
Yep, I got your back.
Brian.
Okay, I thought I hid this one, but in case
No,
I forgot
I'm
to talk
glad
about
you're
it.
doing this one because I need to update
Yeah.
my Slack.
Yeah, I'll hit this one just in case. But yeah, update your Slack profiles. The biggest thing is like what time zone you're in, how can people get a hold of you. Same thing as Sandy talked about during the Popple training. I don't know that you necessarily need to put this in your company Slack, but if you have like all your meeting links, like how to get in touch with you there, just put that link in your Slack profile. If you're not sure, copy somebody else's. Your best bet is a broker or something. Just look at theirs and what they have. The I guess the downside of Slack is I can't do this for you. Like there are things that are private to you that even as an admin I can't change. If you want help, we can screen share and I can walk through it, but I can't set this up for you, so you're going to have to dig into it. One of the things I've mentioned probably to more than a handful of people already is switching from like the IT help desk side to here. Everybody here, because you kind of have to do your thing on your own. You're all way more tech savvy than you realize because I've said it before. Like I've dealt with people who don't know where the start button is on their Windows machine. Like the fact that you guys all handle your own social media, you're really good at all of this. But if you do need help, I'm available. Let me know. But yeah, put the information in here. And then this happened when I met with Ryan the other day. Make sure you have your time zone set in here so that there's no confusion over like what time 3:30 is for everybody. It's Central, Eastern, whatever. So look at that. But yeah, update your Slack profile so your information's in there.
Hey, real quick, Brian. So, two things about Brian. Just so you guys know for context, Brian has absolutely zero real estate background and zero experience with literally any of the systems we threw him into to onboard all the agents. Like, so we're talking like Slack, luxury presence, follow up, like all the systems that you're used to and Brian is onboarding you to. I mean, he just started. When did you start here, Brian?
Today is my 3-month,
Okay.
90-day.
I'm just losing left and right. So happy anniversary, Brian. Um, and so, but my whole point is he's got this kind of brain where he just picks up on these things. He had no Slack background. He had no real estate background, and he really picks up on this stuff. So he has the kind of brain where he also can, explain it to you the way that he's learned it. Please use him as that resource. And I also wanted to say thank you for your contributions this last Tuesday for our true crime and real estate. That was really, really fun to watch you just go to town.
Yeah. And the other thing is I will fully admit, like I will over explain. That's fine, but because I want you, like if I just say do this, I don't want you to just take it as like I'm telling you what to do. I will explain this is why, this is like the thought process I had. I thought about these ways as well. Like here's everything like I had in that process. So like, oh well, if you didn't think of this, here's something you didn't think of, but here's everything I thought. So if I over explain, I apologize. My emails tend to get lengthy if I'm explaining things, but I want you to have all the information I had when I make a decision so that you can at least see where I'm coming from or let me know if I'm missing anything. So, and then next slide, please. So I'll try to get this without getting too like glazing your eyes over with technical stuff, but password managers. So we use our Google single sign on for almost everything here. Like your MyRECo email, you just click that button, it signs in. That's a good thing. It makes things a lot easier. You don't have to type in your password 100 times. If you use something like Face ID or fingerprint or whatever it is, those are all good. But the one place I would say to be careful is if you're going to buy something from a site that you haven't used before, especially if it's like not something that's popular. Like there's Adobe out there. I included an image of like somebody that tried to make like a fake Adobe that sort of looks legit. So if you're ever like going to a site and buying something, especially like something that's hard to find or like a custom item, and you can only find it on this one weird website, before you put in your credit card information or before you sign up, use a different login for that. Don't use the same password for everything. Make sure you set up different ones. There are a couple of password storage or management programs. I'll throw a couple in the chat here. The Bitwarden, this one is kind of the best, the gold standard. There's different options for it where you can store all your passwords for various programs here. It'll share across devices. You can access it on your Mac as well as your iPhone. This one's kind of like the high tier, the gold standard. Another one is this Proton Pass. This one's got a free option. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, when you do Google searches, the very top results are ads. Don't click those. Make sure they're the actual website links. The Proton Pass has some free tiers, and then you get into like family plans and gold, standard or like gold pricing tiers, annual rates, and all that. But basically, these programs will help you manage all your passwords, so you don't have to keep it like on Notepad on your computer or like a notes on your phone or like a notebook in the back pocket of your purse, your pants that gets dirty. Store it somewhere on your computer that's encrypted, and then you can access it later. And then here's one specifically aimed at Mac users called MSecure. So that one is like integrated well with Apple products and everything. So that might be one to look at. So just before you go buy something online, if it's not from either one of the sites we offer or from something like an Apple store or Amazon or something, if it's from a like lesser known or site you don't recognize, be very careful about putting in both your credit card information. Like I never store my credit card information on a website until like the fourth or fifth time I've bought something from there and every purchase has worked out. Like the first time I buy something from somewhere, I don't allow them to store my credit card info until I actually get the product and it looks like, what I bought. So just be careful doing that. In the 20 years I've had a, debit card or a credit card from my bank, I've only had it compromised once, which, if you've gotten that less than once, great. But I think that's a pretty solid standard for 20 years worth of buying stuff online. So if you have any questions, let me know. The same thing with emails. If you ever get emails like the kind of one in the bottom right there that says like, hey, customer, you need to log in before your account's closed, and it looks like it's from a legitimate bank, don't click links in that email. Go out to Google, or if you have the bookmark saved for like your banking app, search for the bank, log in that way. Don't take the login you see in the email because they can make completely legitimate copies of the official website. Because all you have to do is copy and paste what the real website looks like, send a link that looks real, and then you're logging into their website with your credit card and banking information. So just be careful when you're buying things online and paying things for online. Protect your credit card information, because if either it gets leaked somewhere and then it's can be used by anyone, or if that site isn't legitimate, they'll drain your account before you know it. So just be very careful about buying things online from popular or non-big websites. So I'll put all of those links in the water cooler, or maybe the scam, fraud, and abuse chat. I'll pick a channel to dump this all in if you want to look at them later. But a password management program is kind of becoming a big thing for people to use, because every single website you log into requires it now. And it's not a good idea to use the same password for every single website. Even if you use the same email address for it, use a different password for it. So I just want to kind of pass that along to everybody and hopefully make sure that your money stays with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey Brian, real quick, what are your thoughts on Dashlane?
That was one of the ones that was recommended very highly as well. So if you're using that one just looked like it was like a big bundle for everything. And I just strictly wanted to say like just password managers here to keep it simple. The other thing I would say recommend, but just use it for one thing first. Like if you're just using this program for the first time and you've already got your own method for passwords, don't put everything in this right away. Put one in, use it a few times, get comfortable with it. Once you kind of understand how your password management program works, then start transferring everything into it once you kind of have a good feel for it. So that way you're not struggling to use it with all your passwords and you got rid of your old system. But yeah, Dashlane, if you're using that, I saw that one pop up a few times in like top 5, top 10. So that one's fine as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have about 9 minutes for the top of the hour, so we're just going to touch on like some important things. A lot of this is not new. I just wanted to like talk about it again. So one of the things that I learned this morning, though, that I thought was interesting, Illinois agents, did you know that the new service line disclosures came into effect like a year or two, but the people that have lead service lines are required to replace them before the year 2037. So
37?
2037. They have 10
Okay.
years. Yeah, 10
Okay.
years to do this. So what that means for you is like if you're representing a buyer and there's a lead service line, you want to either let them know or pre-negotiate or budget or something because that service line will need to be replaced over the next 10 years. So something to think about. Brendan, I know you're not feeling great, but is there any fun facts you wanted to share about West Virginia?
Yes, probably the coolest fact is they are changing terminology from salesperson to sales agent. I know that's a really big deal to a lot of people. No, there actually is a couple of good things. So they're working on some reciprocity. I know, Brian. I know. Reciprocity update. So I don't know exactly what that means if they're gonna get that with more states. So that'll be a big deal for West Virginia agents. And they're removing the physical office requirement for non-residents. So if you're licensed in multiple states, you won't have to get a physical office in West Virginia. So those are the biggest updates that are either have happened or are happening soon in 2026 for W.
All right. Awesome. So, and then the only other really exciting announcement is our NAID number came through for 2 in Iowa. So, for those of you that don't know, getting a NAID number for HUD so you guys can sell homes from the HUD home store is quite a feat. If there's one little period out of place, they reject your application. You have to start over. So, Kyle is helping me with that project. So every time we get a NAID number, though, I'm going to share it because it is a big accomplishment. Okay. So, good job, Kyle, on getting that through.
Fighting with the federal
wanna just-
government is my favorite thing.
I love that. But I also want to say, good job on that, Holly and Kyle, because brokerages that we were at in the past, we had to ask, like, what's the status of can we want to list a HUD home. We want to help our clients buy a HUD home. So we always want to be proactive and try and have our shit together for you, the agent, so that it's already in place. By the time you're asking about it, we can be sassy and be like, check your resources page. It's already there.
We
Good
would never. This was aside from last week, but if you guys didn't take a screenshot and share it with your, social medias, I think you should. Josh ended the note, with, hey, this is a great, take some of these screenshots and share it out and then share it with your clients. So I just really loved what Sandy did here. So I wanted to reshare it again. So we'll dig deeper into this. I don't think now's the time, but really just to scratch the surface. At the beginning of the year, we found out that NAR repealed 18 of their policies that have to do with the MLS. So they did this because there was a whole research on risk mitigation after the lawsuit and the settlements happened. So they're like, how else can we mitigate risk? Well, NAR can mitigate risk by sloughing all of the details onto the local MLSs and associations, right? So they removed from the NAR level, the national level, they removed those association requirements. They removed their requirements on orientations for MLSs. Now the MLSs can decide that, whether they're, required in person or can be virtual or whatever. IDX feeds, it was for a long time that you had to be a realtor company in order to get the IDX feeds, but they've taken that off from a national level. So open listings, like there used to be just bans on open listings, that's been removed. Disciplinary guidelines have been removed. So again, they're doing this because they're trying to just put the burden on the local associations. I mean, that's one way to look at it. They're trying to put the choices into the local associations. And for those of us that don't love big government, we understand that concept. Like, let the locals decide what works best for them. So, some things that they still control though is the master MLS policy handbook, code of ethics obligations, and clear cooperation. So the reason I wanted to touch on that is because there's a lot of these conversations around, well, if the associations allow non-NAR members to join their MLSs, what does that look like? So I just want to be very clear that even if you choose not to be a member of NAR and you choose to join your local MLS as an MLS only member, you're still bound by all of the rules and all of the red tape that everyone else is. So if you don't want to, if that's your motivation for leaving NAR, then we need to look at other options, because staying in your local MLS is not going to do it for you. However, if your reasons are different or you need that local data, then that would make more sense. So definitely talk to your broker or me about it, and we can help you make those decisions if and when the time comes. And that's all I have for you.
Go ahead and stop share, Holly. Good job. Great meeting. All right.
It was. It's a great meeting. I love our meetings and our trainings. They're like no other that you ever attended at any other brokerage. So I love them. Thank you.
We appreciate you. One thing I'm really proud of about you at this brokerage, you meaning all of you agents, is I think we're I would contend us against any other virtual brokerage for the percentage of agents that attend our trainings and our meetings and actually plug in. Like, people can have all the trainings and meetings and bullshit, and their agents don't plug in. They don't attend it. They don't utilize what's offered to them. We wanted to find the right formula, and we're still dialing in. We want to make everything worthwhile, worth your time, not waste your time, but also and have the right culture to where our agents are taking advantage and plugging in. So we appreciate your participation for sure. All right, Holly, close us out. What's that?
Real quick question. So if you can cover the what is the invite only thing for the brokerage? What does it mean? Because yesterday, you and I were having this conversation about another agent that I was talking to that's considering a move, also from Epic, by the way. I want to make sure that, I know she's good and everything. She takes care of her clients. And I think she would be, benefit from, her business would benefit from what we have to offer here. So, but I don't want to just open it up and talk to anybody. So.
Yeah. So, I think that first of all, current agents here know the vibe and know who should be invited to join, right? So that's you inviting an agent to join. And then the next step is they would interview with a member of leadership and the state broker. So usually after they apply, they'll schedule that interview, just like how you had the interview with Lindsay. And that just makes sure that I want to be compliant and whatever else. So culture fit, that they would, want to be compliant and state regulations and everything. And then also, as a thank you for our agents who invite agents, if that agent's a producing agent, then you'll get $1,000 off your next year's cap. Well, since you're a lifetime cap VIP-er, DC, we're going to give you shares of equity. Okay. So there's always an award if you invite the right agents to come in, but we're not about the downline shit. We don't want that toxicity in here, but we do feel that it's appropriate to give a thank you for growing the brokerage. And because that's how our equity raises, that's how everybody's equity raises, right? So literally the invite part of it comes with a couple of things. One is the agents know our vibe and knows who you think would be a good fit. Number two is an agent could find out about us on social media and then reach out to us and talk to us and then get an invite that way. So, and that's actually happened before. So
Yeah, because as long as you know me, you know I'm not about that whole downline recruiting BS.
Yep.
I don't have time or patience for any of that. So,
I mean, it's how our brokerage makes money is you, the agents, being producing and being successful, right? So we do want agents, but we want the right agents. We want to protect your reputation. So we don't want just a bunch of people coming in and souring our culture. We're very protective of it. But like, I think Mickey's a great example. Mickey's a great example of, being invited to join. She wasn't just like reached out to by a particular agent that knew her. Nobody actually knew her, but we had started talking and connected and decided she was a great fit and she got that invitation. So, yeah. And thank you, DC, for thinking about it.
Absolutely. And I'll be talking more about it tonight on MyRECo Reveal at 8 p.m. If you guys want to jump on Twitch and engage with me or join me live, let me know. But all right, we good?
Yeah, close us out, Halls.
All right. When in doubt, reach out, messages if you need us. We are here for you. We all started this morning with a blank slate at 0. So go out and talk to a buyer, a seller, or an agent today. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Nate was the